What if I told you that World War II wasn't just fought on beaches, in deserts, and in the skies, but in secret laboratories and hidden research facilities? This was a second clandestine war waged not with bullets, but with slide rules and blueprints. It was a conflict that compressed decades of innovation into just 6 frantic years, and its inventions didn't just win the war, they built the modern world we live in today. Welcome to 10-Minute History. I'm your host, Jake Sullivan, and today we're uncovering the secret history of how science went to war, creating a technological revolution that changed humanity forever. Before the 1940s, scientific research was a mostly academic affair. But the outbreak of global war transformed everything. Governments began pouring unimaginable sums of money into research and development, desperate for any technological edge that could turn the tide of the conflict. It was a high-stakes race where a single breakthrough could mean the difference between victory and defeat. One of the first and most critical arenas for this new kind of war was the battle against invisibility, the fight to see an enemy you couldn't see. In the summer of 1940, Great Britain stood alone against the might of the German Air Force, the Luftwaffe. Outnumbered, the Royal Air Force, or RAF, faced a daunting task. Their secret weapon wasn't a new plane, but an invisible shield of radio waves. This was radar. Along the coast of England, a series of huge steel towers called chain home continuously blasted radio pulses out over the English Channel. When these pulses hit an airplane, a faint echo would bounce back. The genius of the British system was how they used this information. Reports from all the radar stations were fed to a central filter room, where operators plotted the enemy formations on a giant map table. This gave RAF commanders a godlike view of the entire air battle, allowing them to send their limited number of Spitfires and Hurricanes exactly where they were needed most. The Germans were baffled, wondering how the RAF always knew where they were coming from. Radar was Britain's trump card, the invention that saved the nation. But this early radar was clunky, requiring massive antennas. The real game-changer came from 2 British physicists who, in 1940, invented a device called the cavity magnetron. This small copper block could generate powerful microwaves, making it possible to build radar sets small enough to fit inside an airplane. In a pivotal moment of trust, Britain sent one of these precious devices to the still neutral United States. American industry, with its immense power, began mass-producing them. This tiny device spawned a revolution. Now, night fighters could hunt bombers in total darkness. Patrol planes could spot surfaced German U-boats from miles away, closing the deadly mid-Atlantic gap. And bombers could even use radar to see cities and coastlines through thick clouds, enabling them to navigate and bomb with newfound accuracy. But while one group of scientists was fighting with radio waves, another was fighting with logic and mathematics. At a secret estate north of London called Bletchley Park, a team of Britain's most brilliant minds, including the eccentric genius Alan Turing, worked to crack Germany's most secret codes. Their main target was the Enigma machine, a complex typewriter-like device the Germans used for all their military communications. The Germans believed Enigma was absolutely unbreakable, as it had trillions of possible settings. Building on earlier Polish intelligence, Turing and his team designed a massive electromechanical machine called the bomb. These machines, clattering away day and night, tested thousands of possible Enigma settings, searching for the correct daily key. When they found it, the intelligence they gathered, codenamed Ultra, gave Allied commanders an unbelievable advantage. They could read German orders, track U-boat wolf packs to route convoys around them, and know the enemy's plans, sometimes even before German generals did. For the most secret messages from German high command, the codebreakers at Bletchley Park faced an even greater challenge, the Lorenz cipher. To break it, an engineer named Tommy Flowers built the world's first programmable electronic computer, Colossus. Using over 2,000 vacuum tubes, Colossus could read and analyze encrypted messages at incredible speed. Its greatest triumph came just before D-Day in June 1944. Colossus confirmed to the Allies that their master deception plan was working. that Hitler had been fooled into thinking the main invasion would be at Calais, not Normandy. This intelligence ensured that crucial German tank divisions were kept in the wrong place, saving countless lives on the beaches. While the unseen war of electronics raged, another revolution was taking place in the skies. The piston engine and propeller that had powered planes since the Wright brothers were hitting their physical limits. The future belonged to a radical new technology, the jet engine. In a remarkable case of parallel invention, the jet engine was developed simultaneously and in secret in both Britain and Germany. In Britain, a brilliant RAF officer named Frank Whittle struggled for years to get funding for his idea, eventually building a working prototype in 1937 on a shoestring budget. In Germany, a physicist named Hans von Ohain found a powerful industrial backer in the aircraft designer Ernst Heinkel. As a result, Germany achieved the world's first purely jet-powered flight on August 27, 1939, just days before the war began. Germany's lead resulted in the war's most advanced fighter, the Messerschmitt Me-262. Entering combat in mid-1944, it was a terrifying sight for Allied pilots. Over 100 miles per hour faster than the best Allied fighters like the P-51 Mustang, the sleek German jet could attack bomber formations with devastating effect and then escape with ease. Ultimately, it was a case of too little too late. Plagued by unreliable engines and fuel shortages, not enough Me-262s were built to change the war's outcome. Britain's own jet, the Gloucester Meteor, entered service around the same time and proved effective at shooting down V-1 flying bombs. But it wasn't the leap in performance that the Me-262 was. While jets were conquering the air, another German team was focused on leaving the atmosphere altogether. At a secret research base called Peenemünde, a team led by the visionary Wernher von Braun was developing the world's first long-range ballistic missile, the A-4 rocket. This 46-foot-tall machine was a marvel with a powerful liquid-fueled engine and a sophisticated guidance system. On October 3, 1942, an A-4 became the first man-made object to reach the edge of space. In 1944, Hitler deployed it as a terror weapon against London, renaming it the V-2 or Vengeance Weapon 2. Traveling faster than the speed of sound, the V-2 was unstoppable. There was no defense. The first sign of an attack was the massive explosion, followed seconds later by the sound of its arrival. Though strategically ineffective, the V-2 was a terrifying glimpse of the future. This technological achievement, however, is forever stained by its dark origin. The V-2 rockets were built in an underground factory by slave laborers from a concentration camp, where more people died building the weapons than were killed by them. This brings us to the war's most secret, most expensive, and most consequential scientific undertaking of all, the Manhattan Project. The story began in 1939 with the discovery of nuclear fission, the splitting of the uranium atom. Physicists around the world quickly realized this could lead to a chain reaction, releasing an almost unimaginable amount of energy. A group of scientists who had fled Nazi Europe, including Albert Einstein, wrote a letter to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, warning him that Germany might be trying to build an atomic bomb. This fear launched the Manhattan Project, a $2 billion top-secret American program to build a bomb first. The project was led by two remarkable men, General Leslie Groves, a no-nonsense Army engineer who got the job done, and J. Robert Oppenheimer, a brilliant but troubled theoretical physicist who directed the secret weapons lab. The project was an industrial empire. At Oak Ridge, Tennessee, entire cities were built to house colossal factories, dedicated to the painstaking task of separating the rare, fissile uranium-235 from natural uranium. At Hanford, Washington, massive nuclear reactors were built to create a brand new, man-made element, plutonium, which was even more potent. And at a remote site in Los Alamos, New Mexico, Oppenheimer assembled a dream team of the world's greatest scientific minds to solve the final problem, how to actually build a bomb. They designed two types. The first, nicknamed Little Boy, was a relatively simple gun-type design that would fire one piece of uranium into another to start the chain reaction. The second, Fat Man, was far more complex. It used a sphere of plutonium surrounded by precisely shaped explosives. When detonated, the explosives would create a perfectly symmetrical shockwave, crushing the plutonium core into a supercritical mass in a millionth of a second. This implosion method was so difficult they knew they had to test it. On July 16, 1945, in the New Mexico desert, they detonated the first atomic device in the Trinity test. The result was terrifying and awe-inspiring. Oppenheimer famously recalled a line from Hindu scripture, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." The atomic age had begun. With Japan refusing to surrender, President Harry Truman made the decision to use the new weapon to avoid a bloody invasion of the Japanese mainland. On August 6, 1945, the little boy bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. 3 days later, the Fat Man bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. The devastation was horrifying. On August 15th, Japan surrendered and World War II was over. The frantic 6-year race for technological supremacy didn't just end the war, it built the world that came after. The link forged between government, science, and industry became permanent, creating what President Eisenhower would later call the military-industrial complex. The jet engine, first used in war, would shrink the globe and make mass air travel possible. The V-2 rocket became the direct ancestor of the Saturn V that took humanity to the moon. And the code-breaking computers at Bletchley Park were the dawn of the digital revolution that led to the device you're watching this on right now. Most profoundly, the atomic bomb ushered in the nuclear age and the Cold War, a new era where humanity held the power of its own annihilation. The story of science in World War II is a powerful and often cautionary tale. It shows that under the pressure of conflict, human ingenuity can achieve the impossible, but that progress always comes with a price and a profound responsibility. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know down in the comments below. If you found this interesting or learned something new, please give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to 10-Minute History for more deep dives. Thanks for listening.